G'day, gang. I wanted to talk today about a pretty big topic in general. Not that, not that I've really talked about small topics, but this one I think is a really big one in terms of storytelling. I want to talk about exploration, and I mean that in all sense of the word. So this one has a lot of application. I'm currently writing a story about a bunch of characters exploring a cast-off world. It's a fantasy setting, not a kind of made it sound a bit sci-fi there, but it's fantasy. They're exploring through magical ruins, and without a real trace of the people who left it or why. And it's numerous generations past. So this is a really genuinely lost past with no one to explain it. And I think that exploration is a really fun topic. I think it's always a fun topic, but it's particularly fun for me right now because of what I'm writing. So I'm really excited to talk about and get feedback on what people think about exploration in general. And I'm not just talking about exploration of long-lost mythical worlds and fantastic places and seeing things that people haven't seen and being inspired by wonder or being exposed to really terrifying truths about the past or anything like that. I'm not talking about just that. I'm talking about also the exploration of other characters, of connection. All of those sorts of devices in storytelling are really exciting to me, obviously. And I'm really interested in how people feel about exploration and about how little pieces of characters get dribbled into the story, and about how people start to understand the characters in a story. You know, that titular sitting around a campfire and telling little bits and pieces about their story every night, or some nights, or one big night, and then little bits of story keep trickling out, like exploring through narrative. I think it's one of the coolest options, one of the coolest features of storytelling. I think it's really exciting in general. And I think it's really fun if anyone plays tabletop games. It's really fun to have like characters sprinkle little bits of information about their characters slowly throughout months and years of playing together. And then you find out all along, wow, they've been lying to me. You know, fun stuff like that. I think it's really fun to explore these sorts of things together. But it's also really fun to just sit alone and explore things about other characters. And I mean, I'm openly say it time and again. I'm a massive fan of survival games. So for me, running around and exploring in an actual literal sense is just such an awesome experience. And I'm trying to capture that in my current novel. But I'm also finding that exploration means so much, like such a different thing to so many different people. So I've been really enjoying working out how to make that, how to convey that to certain audiences, and what I want to explore and what I want to find. And ultimately for me, my favorite exploration is that connection in other characters, or worst of all, that means best in this case, for the characters, finding out how disconnected you actually are from another character. I think that is really fun when you fight really hard to learn about a character and you find out that you're completely different and you have inconsolable differences. I think is a really fun avenue of narrative exploration. I think those sorts of things are particularly enjoyable. But yeah, what do you all think about exploration? Does it fill you with wonder? Do you think about like terror? I think for me personally it is an entire spectrum, and I think that is like what it is for most people. If you tell me to explore space, I will be terrified. I mean, in a video game, I will go there. Never in real life. You could not pay me enough money to go to space. I like my footsies on the ground. Thank you very much. But I think yeah, exploring it in video games is terrifying. Going underwater is terrifying, but I'll always go. I'll always do that. I think that's part of the fun, is feeling a little bit of terror in gaming. And I think that I'm a massive fan of feeling fear, controlled fear, in instances where I'm not actually in danger. It's a particularly enjoyable experience for me. So I'll go. but I won't go without complaining. But I think exploration can also just be so wonderful. Like, and I get this sensation in so many different walks of life. Like, just the other day I went for a walk, and I found a park that I hadn't been to before, and I just stood there and I just stared at it, and I just thought to myself, wow, it's a really, really beautiful area. And I'm so privileged to live in one of the most beautiful countries in the entire world. So I get to experience that IRL, and I know that not everybody gets that experience, but I think that we can all get that in gaming. We can all get that in books. We can all get that in movies and TV. And yeah, just going through, like, reading a passage that is completely new about how there is an open meadow, and you see some animals grazing already there. You're experiencing some extraordinary exploration without having to go to the extreme of saying people haven't been here for who knows how many generations. And you're exploring them with people of whom you get to experience new parts of them with too. So I think exploration in storytelling is one of the most awesome and powerful tools in any narrative writer, in any narrative creative's tool chest. Because again, this isn't just a story thing. You can create narrative like Bethesda does, which is such a classic, like Obsidian Entertainment used to do, where you will walk through, for example, in a Fallout game, and you will see this massive, massive circular door, and there's a little skeleton trying to reach up to the button to get into one of the vaults, and it just tells such a massive story right there. It's just really powerful, and you have like all of those options. I'm doubting now if Obsidian made Fallout 1 and 2. I can't remember. Look, that creator, that that studio, don't get me if it's wrong, okay? Tell me off in the comments if I got the original Fallout 1 and 2 game company incorrectly. It's very late here, okay? I have to make videos really late at night. Don't judge me. But yeah, Bethesda continued that method with their Fallout series, and other series too, of course, other series too. But I think Fallout is one of the ones in which the people really reference it because of how well it was done in the first two games. And then you get to see, like, yeah, you walk up onto just any scene, and there's just this entire story just played out for you, just in the way that they've designed their levels. And I think that there's a lot of things that can do that in descriptions. One of the books that I always reference is The Reader. It's a very, very complicated book that I won't spoil it, but there are so many instances of this style of writing which I would love to be good enough to be, but I'm definitely not that caliber of writer, where, you know, a character will look through a room. They're just standing in a room, and the main character, he looks over a bookshelf and just describes so effortlessly what's there in an integrated way, instead of just saying, there's a red book, there's a green book, there's a white book, there's a ribbon on the shelf. It relates to the character, and the way that they describe it is so exploratory and revealing about the way that they see things too. And I think that style of exploration is just such a peak of caliber in any sort of storytelling. Again, regardless of if you're using words to do that, or if you're just if it's just the set. I think that's the ways in which that we tell our stories are so numerous, And I think exploration is one of the best ways to define the amount of tools that we have to tell the most extraordinary and diverse and overreaching, really far-reaching stories. But how do you all feel about exploration? Do you hate running around in worlds and having to get like specific objectives in video games? Do you really enjoy it in books when characters will just sit there and have like complicated exploring conversations between each other? Do you want to get into the meaty action? What is your preference on exploration, and how do you feel about the way that certain groups, writers, companies, franchises do exploration? Do you have a favorite? Can you provide an example of one of the ways in which that you think exploration is both best displayed? Very interested in this one because I think exploration is just such a magnificent topic in terms of storytelling power and depth. I think it's really fun. But yeah, tell me what you think. Very interested. And again, if you are enjoying my content, it means so much if you would subscribe, put a like to show me the videos that you want me to cover more of. It helps a lot for me to understand what people want me to do. And if you watch to the end, thank you. I have no idea what I'm doing, so I really appreciate the fact that people are interested in these topics as well. And again, I really want to start a dialogue. I want back and forth. I want all of your opinions on the stuff that I talk about, particularly the things that you are really interested in. I'm so excited to find out what other people like. But yeah, thank you all, and I'm sure you'll see my face and hear my croaky little voice, my little sick voice again anytime soon. Okay, bye.